Hi guys, Jordan from B&B Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your new venture, New Rio. It's based on the 2014 Peugeot Expert chassis. On these new ventures, that normally means that it's an automatic, which it is. So, what I'm going to do is just show you a few bits around the cab. So you've got the engine battery, so it's under this little flap here under the driver's side. You've got your electric adjusting mirrors, which you basically just select which mirror you want to move and then use this little pad here to adjust it. Have then got the original new venture number and chassis plate and weights. In the cab itself, like I said, it's the automatic gearbox. You've got air conditioning from the switch just there in the middle, and all of your standard original Peugeot bits and pieces there on the dash. You've got a 12-volt socket just there, and you can lock and unlock the cab from there as well. I'll just head round to the other side now. So inside the, just close this out the way, inside the passenger door, you've got this little cover here, which releases your bonnet release handle. Once you've pulled on that, you can then come over to the bonnet and lift it up nice and easily. So I'm just going to put you to one side for a sec whilst I put the arm up. So under the bonnet, all nice and clean and tidy. You've got your washer fluid here on the left hand side with the blue cap. Engine coolant just next door to that. Engine oil goes in through this cap just at the top of the engine, and your engine oil dipstick is this orange topped one over here on the right. You've then got your brake fluid over in the reservoir just there, and your power steering fluid just there. There will be another little reservoir with a sort of dipstick somewhere for the automatic gearbox fluid. Should be over that side really, but wherever it might be, there will be one. But again, you shouldn't really ever need to get to it, to be honest, anyway, but it will be there somewhere. I just can't see it right now. But yeah, because of the automatic gearbox, you do have the automatic transmission fluid. But yeah, again, you shouldn't need to do that really. You know, it's been well serviced. We sold it new to the previous owner, so it's just had the one owner from new, and it is a little bit of a different layout inside. We didn't make many of these up at New Venture. Still a New Rio, but just different layout inside, so I'll get to that in just a minute. Just behind the habitation door here, we've got your diesel filling point, so diesel goes into there. Down low, you've got your first waste drain off point, because there are two waste drains on this particular vehicle. So there's your one there. You've then got at the back, you've got your freshwater filling point just here, which push in and round to the left will allow you to release that as long as it's unlocked. And your freshwater drain off point is just directly below that. So the blue one there at the back is a freshwater drain. You've got your two bike rack here at the back of the vehicle. You've then got on the offside here, you've got your hookup point. So hookup goes into there, and that'll give you access to the battery charger, and anything 240 volt related will work when your hookup's plugged in. Next door to that, we've got your Truma boiler vent, a couple of spider webs around it. So the Truma boiler vent basically is just all to do with your heating and hot water. So if you had either of those on, you should feel warm air pumping out through the bottom of there. The two fridge vents just here. So if you've got the fridge lit up on gas like I do at the moment, you will feel warm air coming out through the top right hand side of this vent here. Next door to that, we've got your Thetford toilet cassette. So all you need to know about it really is that you've got a freshwater flush, which is what this blue pipe here is for, which means you haven't got to fill up any separate flush fluids or anything like that. So to take the actual cassette out, lift up on the little yellow tab, and then the whole thing will come out towards you. All you need to know from there really is that you drain it out from here, and when you're physically draining it out, you should be holding down the little yellow button at the back. And once you've emptied it out, your blue fluid goes in here. About a cap full goes back in. And then that's it. You push the cassette all the way back away like that. And that's your toilet cassette. The second waste drain is just down there, as you can see. So when you want to drain out the wastewater, just drain out both ones there. I believe it's because it was easier for them to run 2 tanks rather than the pipe going from side to side, basically. So they put the 2 waste drains in there, 2 waste tanks. So if we jump inside, it's probably not going to be the longest video in the world because it is only a small van, but it does still have lots of nice you know, standard big features and things. So we'll start here. As soon as you walk in the door, you've got your control panel to the right of you. These 2 here are both just for lights, so light switches just there. So the main control panel itself, you've got 4 buttons on this right hand side, which are basically, you know, telling things to turn on. So you've got your main on and off switch here on the top right. You've then got your lights outside and your lights inside. I don't think there are any outside lights on this one. No. So this little button here shouldn't really do anything at all. This one here, like I said, is your lights inside switch, and then your water pump switch just there. Once the water pump's on, you will be able to come over to the tap and pull the hot and the cold water through. Before I do that, I'll just explain the reason that I say that. So it's really important, because you've got the boiler on board, the Truma combi boiler. It's really important that you make sure that that boiler is actually full of water. And the only way to actually do that is by turning the pump on and pulling the water through here at the tap on hot and on cold. Turning the tap off. Make sure the pump turns itself off. There you go. And that's it. That's just showing us that the boiler is full of water. As long as water comes through the tap on hot and cold, you can know that the boiler is definitely full of water, and you can go ahead and use it however you'd like. So that's just the first thing you should do, really, if you're going to be using the boiler. Once you've done that, you can look on the left hand side and see various levels. So you've got your freshwater level, 75% full, your leisure battery voltage and vehicle battery voltage. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a solar panel on the roof, because those voltages are very, very good. I'm not sure where the controller would be for it. Probably should have checked that before the video. Of course, it'll be in the last cupboard that I checked, won't it? What do you reckon? There you go. Yes. Right in front of me when I started looking. So the solar controller is that one there. So what that does is it essentially has the solar panel on the roof and puts the power from the panel to that little controller. It then splits the power off between the leisure and the engine battery and gives it complete charge, you know, all the time that the sun's out. So essentially, if you look at this battery voltage here, if the sun went away right now, that voltage would go down. All right, so all the time that the sun's out and on that solar panel, you're going to be having good charge there in the leisure battery and the engine battery together. So, you know, about 12 volts is a good resting battery rate. So 14 is, you know, fantastic, really. So that is that. The top one there is your internal temperature and external temperature. You can see it's pretty warm in here right now, which is why I've got the skylights open. But that's it. That's the control panel. You've then got this little thing up here. This isn't a button, so please don't press it too hard because it will break. But that's just basically your thermostat for the boiler. So, first sort of appliance you get to is this Thetford mini grill. So, you've got the 4 burners on the top. All 4 burners are here as shown. You've got the ignition switch there for any of those. So if I just show you, push in and round, and whichever one you push down on will light up. I will point out that if you are using this cooker or the grill, you know, any of it, if you've just been using it for a little while and it's all very, very hot, please don't put this glass lid straight down. because, you know, it's not just, I mean, obviously don't put it down when the flame's actually on, and you should always have this up if you're using the grill. But, you know, I mean, that's probably obvious, but if you put the lid straight down straight after you've turned it off, it will have the same effect where it's really hot underneath and cold on top, and the glass will shatter. So just allow all of this to cool right down, including the grill, because the vent for the grill is this bit here. Allow it to all completely cool down before closing that lid down. Below that, and obviously also leave the grill door open when you're using it. It does also have this little sticker here saying the heat deflector must be out. That's this little pad here, so pull that out so it's just sort of hanging over, and that'll stop all of this stuff getting melted and things. So below that, we've just got a load of storage in there, to be honest, not much else to show in there. Same goes for this locker. You do get access to the bottom of the tank and the tap in there, as well as your little cutlery drawer if you should use it. You've got a 12 volt and a 240 volt socket just there. Now the 12 volt socket will work anytime that you've got battery power in the leisure battery, but the 240 volt one won't work until you've got the hookup plugged in. So that's what I was saying earlier on. Any 240 volt or mains powered appliances, you need the hookup plugged in. Now, I know this probably looks a little bit of a mess at the moment. I've chucked all the cushions over in this corner because I need to get to both of these side lockers to show you what's going on inside of them. But before I do that, I will just show you this little part down here behind the passenger seat. So quite neatly tucked away, you've got all of your electronic bits and pieces. So a lot of the time these things will be scattered around all over the place, you know, in various different places, but this is nicely tucked in the same place. So New Venture have always used, or for a long time have been using these CBE units. The reason they're good is that they're all labeled up and they tell you what they do. So you've got your 12 volt fuses over here on the right hand side with a little diagram above each one telling you what it does. Your 240 volt trip switches and your battery charger there. So when your electric hookup's plugged in, this little thing here will probably shine up red. So that's what this whole little cupboard here is for. You've got a couple of sockets just there on the side of that. And your table, standalone table, sits just behind the driver's seat there. Over the cab, you've got an extra cushion. Oh, make sure you don't allow this to drop on your head. An extra cushion here, and all of the paperwork, or the motorhome related paperwork, is in there in that brown box. Okay, so reason I've got these things open is because this section here is your gas locker, and this part in here is the boiler area. So whoop, all the cushions are just falling on me. Right, okay, so the boiler area down here is only really important for one thing in regards to the video anyway. So down the back of the boiler, you've got this little yellow handle that's laying down flat at the moment. So that is your boiler drain off point. So if you wanted to drain the boiler out of all 10 litres of its water, you can open that up just by lifting it upright, and all the water inside of that will pour out onto the floor. Now, the only reason you would do that, I'll just pop that back away again. Right, the only reason you would do that is if it was coming up to winter and you thought to yourself, right, I'm not going to be using the van for a little while, it's going to be in storage or whatever. The idea is you do not want the boiler, or any water pipe for that matter really, you don't want any of it to freeze up. If it freezes, it will expand and crack all the pipes that you can imagine, basically. So it's really important that you drain that boiler out before leaving it over winter, basically. And if you do that, it just saves it from freezing up and saves it from cracking and whatever else. So the only thing you need to remember is once you've done that, obviously lay it back down flat again and fill it back up by doing what I showed you at the very beginning, by lifting the tap up on the hot side and just waiting for the water to come through again. That will then tell you that the boiler's full full up of water again. All right, so that's just something I need to point out to you. The gas locker next door to that, I open this up. So clever little gas locker, and the reason for that is that, you know, absolutely plenty of space. It's still not advised to put things in here, I will say. I mean, obviously a lot of people will do that, but it's not advisable to put things in a gas locker, mainly due to the fact that you can cover up these little dropout holes, which you really shouldn't do. You know, there is plenty of space in there if you did need to do that, but I wouldn't advise it. So it's probably a bit awkward to show you. Right, so to turn the bottle on, it does tell you on the top of it, but anti-clockwise round to the left turns the bottle on, and clockwise round to the right turns it off. You do need to make sure that you turn the bottle off before you start driving. That's always advisable. The last thing you want is pressurized gas pumping out in the event of like a crash or something like that. The regulator and things over here, you don't need to worry about any of that. That's all just for our testing purposes. And you've got 5 years on the hose from its sort of manufacturing date. So what's that there? Can't quite read it. 20. Oh, it's a brand new one. So you've got till 28 to replace that pigtail hose, basically. All right, so that is your gas locker. Now that will lock in down there. I'm going to leave it unlocked for the moment because I've got it on at the moment. So next bit to show you, I will show you the fridge, but I'll just show you in this cupboard first. So you've got this, these 2 points here are to do with the bike rack. So if you wanted to use the bike rack, you will need these two to hold onto the top of the bikes. This is a tripod for the table leg. So the tripod, the idea behind it is that you can put that wherever you want to. So you make the tripod up, put this pole in the top of it, and then the other end of that pole will go onto the point on the table. But like I said, the idea behind the tripod, it means you can just, you know, you can put it outside, inside, wherever you want. So that's that. You've also then got your TV aerial, tilt and turn aerial. So undo this little bit here. You'll then be able to push the TV aerial up and move it around wherever you should want it to be. Once you've got it into the position, you can then turn on your booster. And that's it really. Got a little plug there to plug into it by the looks of it. There you go. So your TV aerial booster just there. So last couple of bits are going to be your fridge, which is obviously this thing here, the Dometic fridge. Now inside the fridge you got your freezer compartment at the top. It's a three-way fridge in the sense that it works on gas, 12 volt and mains electric. So you know, generally speaking, if you're going to be on a campsite or at home or whatever, you're either going to have the gas or the mains electric. So you know, the 12 volt one there is only for when your engine's running. So if you're on a campsite, you're either going to be on the gas or the mains. So at the moment, because I haven't got the mains cable plugged in, the only way I can use the fridge anyway is the gas. But if I just get down so I can show you properly. So what you've got is two ways that the fridge will actually get cold by itself, and that's the gas or the mains electric. All right, so you have to pre-cool the fridge before you leave for any holiday, because the 12 volt one here, for when your engine's running, will only keep the fridge cold. It will retain the temperature that you put into it, but it will not get the fridge cold by itself. So if we were hooked up on the mains right now, I personally would just select the mains one there and then set my temperature just here. And that's it, just leave it alone and it will get cold. If you don't have access to the mains, you will have to light it up on the gas. So to do that, you go down to the very bottom, and then on the right hand side here, you've got this ignition switch and a sort of like a gas valve, if you like. So you push in on this and the ignition at the same time, and just wait for the bar to go up. So if I can't really, so if you watch the little orange bar, if it comes to life. We watch that now. It's just very slow. I mean, it is a very slow one, to be completely honest with you. But the little orange bar is going up towards the green very, very slowly. When it gets to the, you know, basically once it started moving off from the right hand side, you can know that it's definitely lit on gas. You can also go outside and put your hand over that vent to double check. These gauges are pretty temperamental, I will be honest with you. But that's basically how you do it. You put it down on gas, press the ignition switch with this little one here pushed in as well, and then just, you know, wait for it to light up, and that's it. Once it's lit on the gas, there is another way of checking. If you want to check, if you turn this off back to the 12 volt one, if you watch this little arm here, see how it went straight back down again all the way. So that tells us that it was definitely lit just then. All right. But yeah, so after a couple of hours of being on gas on the mains, the fridge will get cold. Once you've done that, you can then start the engine up, select 12 volt, drive away, and then the fridge will stay cold for when you're driving. All right, so that's the fridge. Just going to put one of these cushions back down here so I don't ruin the wood that's there. Okay, so you've then got at the back here a couple of things. So you've got your TV area, so you've got your main socket, 12 volt, and the aerial socket. Next door to that, you have got your boiler controllers. So, oh, sorry, it's really not a comfortable place to sit when I'm trying to lean over like that. So, the actual boiler controller itself is the one at the bottom. So telling the boiler what to actually do is this one here at the bottom that just says combi. So if we forget this one at the top for a minute, this bottom one here, we can go down 1 for heating only, down 2 for heating and hot water, up 1 is hot water only, and up 2 is hot water at 60 degrees only. Okay, so that's how you use the boiler. That's how you actually tell the boiler what to do. So heating only, heating and hot water only at 60. Okay, the one at the top, what that does is it tells the boiler what energy to use to do it. So at the moment we're sat in the middle and that is gas only. If we went down 1, we've got gas and electric at 4 amps. Down 2 is gas and electric at 8 amps. Up 1 is electric only at 4 amps. Up 2 is electric at 8 amps. So, essentially, if we wanted to use the boiler on the mains electric only, we could select 1 or 2 electric, and then tell the boiler what to do down here. If we don't have the mains electric plugged in, like I don't at the moment, I'd have to leave this here on gas only and then tell the boiler what to do down there. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Skylights, this sort of MPK style one is very, very simple to use. You basically just pull down on this handle and then pull the whole thing up towards you. So anytime that you're not pulling down on the handle, it shouldn't really move. That's it, locked in position. You then get your blind and fly screen that come across there as well. The main Heki skylight at the back is slightly different. Still very, very simple to use, but slightly different how it works. So this is it in its locked position. All you need to do is press the button in to release the handle, and then you can put it all the way backwards towards you if you want to, all the way back, and that's it in its fully open position. You can also, if you don't want it fully open, push it up and into one of these little grooves like that, and then that basically just gives you a little bit of air. You can then go one more if you want to get even less, but that's it. So I think I've pretty much covered everything. Oh no, I haven't shown you the bathroom yet. Right, so in the bathroom, I never really go through the sink and the shower, to be honest, because it's just literally hot and cold mixer tap. Really nice and simple. The only difference with this sort of drain here is that there's no drain hole in the actual sink. So you pour the water through it, fill the sink up there, just slowly lift this up and it'll pour down the back. And what that does is allows the water to go into this little tray here, and there'll be a drain on either side to drain into the waste tank. The toilet is the only bit I really ever show in the bathrooms because the rest of it's quite simple. The top of the toilet itself will swivel round, and all that you need to know is that you press the blue button just here to get the flush fluid. There you go. And then you drain it into the cassette by pulling the grey handle to the right. So that's now drained into the cassette. And then pull it back. And that is how you use the toilet. Nice and easy. So, yeah, so I think I've pretty much covered everything. If there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you'd like going over again, just let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.